Okay, so welcome to A Course in Miracles Satsang with Cate. Usually just talk about a theme from the course, or at the moment we're going through the Song of Prayer. So today we'll be going through the start of the second part of the Song of Prayer, which is forgiveness. But before we do, there's been quite a strong message coming through from Jesus to us, because at this particular time, in time and space, if someone is listening back to this recording, that different things have happened after this, because the illusion of time seems to have lots of stuff going on in it. So right at this moment, there's seemingly a war starting in a part of the world. So how do we look upon this? And also it seems that this virus that we're all scared of is finally dropping away, and now a war's coming up. And in our land called Australia here, there's these floods. So a few people have just sort of said, like, floods, viruses, wars. And one thing that we can know is that the answer is in the Course in Miracles. The answer is there. So he has guided me to say something today, is that you'll believe this course entirely or not at all. Now, that's not a threat or anything from Jesus. It just means that we have to be really vigilant, that we don't say, I can apply the course's teachings to everything except this guy that seems to be starting a war. Really try all your efforts not to get into that someone is guilty. Try not to let your mind wander into that seemingly the person that started it. Then you'll have all these other ideas about, oh no, actually it's someone else in the other country that's doing the attacking. Because it's so easy to let your mind go off into this idea of attack and be caught up for days, hours, days, weeks or months into this idea. And it's all this FOMO, which is the ego's idea, fear of missing out, fear of that there's some guilty person and I need to find them. So first of all, we think, oh, it's this guy over here. And then, hang on, I've just read this thing and it's this other guy. And then all of a sudden, no, it's this group of them. And then, oh no, it's this Illuminati, or it's this something else, or it's the aliens. And so what we have to see is that the mind will get pulled around into somebody is doing something wrong. So we have to be so careful we stay out of all story, because it's an illusion. An illusion is an illusion is an illusion. A dream is a dream is a dream. The only experience we can have is being in hell or in heaven. If you think any part of this is real and you're threatened by it and you're upset by it, you're in hell. We can all know that. Now, the answer that Jesus is offering us in the Course is not always easy to accept. It takes time, for it's like something that brews and marinates in our mind, where we're exposed to new ideas, new ways of looking at the world. So eventually he just comes in and says, nothing I see means anything. In the first lesson, that this is an illusion. It's a dream. I am not here. I am not a body in a world having this experience. I'm asked to keep denying everything. So lesson 14 I wrote about in the group my last night, that was maybe half a day ago or more. So lesson 14 says this war is not real because God did not create it. So let's just forget about all the other things that we add on for a minute, where sometimes people will say, yes, but, be kind, make sure, you're helping others and that. Let's just put that aside for now, because Jesus doesn't have it in his lesson. He has in his lesson 14 to deny its reality and what is coming forward, rather than that there's a war and I should be scared, and what if it comes to my country, and what if someone drops a bomb on my city, is to know that this whole world never, ever will work out. We have to accept there's nothing we can do to make a projection projected from guilt and fear work out. We can't make this world better ever. There's no way. That's why Jesus is telling us we have to look at this world differently. Now, to come to accept these teachings, all these teachings as true, we can't hold one part of it aside and then go on discussing it or thinking about how awful it is to have a war and all these people are dying. That isn't how he wants us to think about it. The truth is that we are not here. We are not in bodies. We are not in a world. It's a projection. And we have to let go of looking and being interested and thinking it's real, and come to know ourselves as God created us, formless, infinite, beautiful, holy love. And that's the only answer that works, that takes you out of hell. You can try anything else you like, and you can try it for as long as you like, but you'll never get out of hell that way. It just doesn't work. We've all done it. I've done everything anyone else has done. Nobody's ever said anything to me that I haven't tried, because we've all done it. We're all lost in a dark room, stumbling into furniture, thinking if I could only change the furniture around, I'd be happy. But he says, turn on the light. That's what he showed me one day. He said, just, when you go to a light switch in a room that's dark, how long does it take for the light to dispel the darkness? An instant. So, yeah, you can play around in the world. You can do what you like. You can talk. You can post. Just to let everybody know, I don't encourage people writing things throughout the satsang. Thanks for that. But it's really to sit back, relax, and listen to the words that are coming through. All right. So it's because this is a message coming through me. This is a message that came into me that transformed my mind. And remember, a lot of the Course says we will be messages of God. We're going to open and be messages of the truth. So if we want peace, if we want heaven, which is peace and quiet and infinite love, we want to be back in the place where we never left. We really have to apply it. Because there's going to be so much that wants to draw you out into the world. Everyone is going to be talking about how bad this is, how good this is. The distractions that want to take you out are immense. So the coming to the quietness within and putting your focus there is just so important. If you want to be a teacher of God, a teacher of God's love and peace, we have to extend peace and love to everyone. And how do we do that? Because we see the world differently. We've had our mind corrected and healed of its misperceptions. So the two things work together. How can I extend love and peace and shine the light into others' minds if I'm still caught up that something outside me can affect me, can attack me, that I can attack it? So wherever we are on our journey with the Course's teachings, we just work towards that. We give over time for the mind training. We can join together in that, or we can do it mainly on our own, or we can, it doesn't, when I say do it on our own, we're always doing it with Jesus and the Holy Spirit, because we're stuck in a thought system that is totally false. The analogy is that it's like a computer with a virus in it, and it's just getting nowhere, doing nothing. It's no end goal of the virus. The virus just keeps you stuck in the virus. We have to let go of the false mind that keeps us looking outside as if it's real. This world is an illusion, but we are not an illusion. We are the Son of God. We are this holiness. We are this infinite, beautiful love. And we will experience that. So we're not giving up anything. We're giving up what is valueless, what is keeping us asleep in a hell that we don't need to be in, and coming to live in the eternal now of peace and a tranquil mind, knowing that nothing can hurt me, because peace comes from knowing that who I am can't be threatened, that what I am can't be threatened, that where I am can't be threatened. They can drop a bomb on my house and this body can be looked at as not functioning, but who I am never dies. It's not killed. And that was the message from Jesus at his crucifixion, coming to remind us all that we are not what we think we are not where we think we are. He's going to show us, he's going to give us experiences. So we are all in the one mind. We're not bodies, we're all together in the mind of God as one. And you will know that. You will have the knowledge, because knowledge is the truth. And when we're in the ego mind, our one thing we need to do as a miracle worker is constantly accepting the atonement, accepting the correction, accepting the change of perception. That's our job. Just, okay, Holy Spirit, this is what I'm upset about today. Go to work. Bring me something to replace it so I can be at peace. I want to see peace instead of this. Because if this world was real and true, we're stuck in a nightmare, asleep in a nightmare. And there is a way out, and it's not left by death. It's left by undoing the egoic mind. We have to have it undone, dismantled like a virus off a computer. Each little bit that's been programmed, the Holy Spirit wipes away a little bit by little bit. Each day, he deprograms our mind until the true operating system is there. and it looks upon the devastation and reminds the mind it's not real. People aren't dying. As much as it looks like it, it's not bad to deny it. Honestly, this lesson is that we need to deny it, because those people that seemingly died, they're not people. There's no life outside heaven, but there's the mind that comes back over and over. So how we are going to be most helpful is helping others wake up to that they're not bodies and that the mind isn't in the body. Oh, I've just got my sister arriving now, so I'm just going to put it on mute, and I'm just going to go and have a chat to her and tell her I'm doing the group. So maybe Shannon, maybe you could start reading the forgiveness, Shannon, while I'm off.
Okay, I'll read. So as Cate mentioned, we're reading part 2 of the Song of Prayer. It's the forgiveness section. If anyone wants to follow along, I'll just start with the introduction and then Cate will probably be back. Forgiveness offers wings to prayer, to make its rising easy and its progress swift. Without its strong support, it would be vain to try to rise above prayer's bottom step, or even to attempt to climb at all. Forgiveness is prayer's ally, sister in the plan for your salvation. Both must come to hold you up and keep your feet secure, your purpose steadfast and unchangeable. Behold the greatest help that God ordained to be with you until you reach to Him. Illusion's end will come with this. Unlike the timeless nature of its sister, prayer, forgiveness has an end, for it becomes unneeded when the rising up is done. Yet now it has a purpose beyond which you cannot go, nor have you need to go. Accomplish this, and you have been redeemed. Accomplish this, and you have been transformed. Accomplish this, and you will save the world.
Did you want to say anything on that, Shannon?
I mean, this is so beautiful. It's such a beautiful way to describe it. And I can't remember where he says it in this section, but he says, first forgive, then pray, and then you will awake or be awakened or something to that effect. And I just love how the two go so hand in hand. You know, it's like forgiveness, you forgive, you pray, and then you're healed. And that's been my experience anyway. But this is just beautiful.
Thank you. It was nice to hear. So I read this morning, but I didn't read it as you were reading it out. But the message of this is that forgiveness and prayer go hand in hand. But forgiveness will end. And the only thing that goes on is this prayer. But the prayer is the song. So he talks about, the song we're going to be in with God, the song of prayer, the song of love. So, so when we've finished up the ladder, when we're up the ladder, we've accomplished things and accomplished this, and you will save the world. I always wondered what he meant by that. What does he mean, save the world, when I'm told there is no world? So what he means is that we are to be his helpers, to help other minds awaken, to help to let them rest in our peace, to be open for his words to speak through us in any situation. So that's really our purpose. He means really to help save others from their egoic thoughts. And the miracle is the way that we do that. And the miracle is just God's love coming through us. We give our body and our life a new purpose to be miracle workers. In other words, the miracle is that natural love that's extended. So that's how when he says save the world, he really means just be his workers. He says he wants our hands, our feet, our words, just like I'm doing here. That's it. And you don't always have to do a Zoom group or anything. He will use your abilities. He will use everything that we have to bless. And in the end, we'll all have the same abilities, he says. Everything will be the same. So we're all just walking each other home. We can't go apart. The reason why we can't go apart from each other is that if I hold one character here and at one image, if I project guilt onto one image, I'm not in heaven. I can't have the peace of God and project my guilt, still be projecting guilt onto the character, on any characters. So remember that this world is a dream. It's like a virtual reality game. We have characters in it doing all different things, but nothing happens in a dream. Nothing is happening. Nothing's happening now. Nothing ever happened. So we can live in peace with that awareness that nothing is ever going on. This Zoom group never happened in truth, but is part of awakening, a part of undoing the ego to help us see that this world was over long ago. It never happened. It was something that happened in an instant that seems to be having all this time involved. But now time is used, our mind is asleep in a dream, and we're waking up and we're going to have the happy dream. So that's why we have to believe this course entirely or not at all. So all these things I'm saying are pretty much all from the course. They've just become alive in me. Through the awakening process, they all sort of, it felt like all these lessons joined together. It was like illumination that all became the truth in my mind. And so now I can express it through the character of Cate, using things about Cate. But Cate also is made up. There's never been a Cate. There's not a Cate now. It's just a body moving and words speaking, and your mind is hearing it. And when this puppet body dies or gets laid aside, the Cate was never. The Cate's not, because the Cate would have to be a separate individual self to be looked upon. And that's not where there's no separation. There's no individual characters ever. But while we think we are, we're asking for the atonement. Please correct my perception. And in the end, when all our beliefs and all our ideas about attack and this world and wars and viruses are all corrected, we come to have that illumination. So this is a section called Forgiveness of Yourself. And when I was reading this morning, I was really, I felt a lot of joy, because I know when I give my talks, I'm always talking about, the emphasis of my teaching is that as you see your brother, you see yourself. And that we're always seeing what we think is in our brother is always in us. And that's why it needs to be corrected at the cause in our mind. So this section goes through in detail all about how to forgive, because when I was going through my mind training, he said, you're going to heal your mind by how you look at others. That's how you're healed. Now, I think this is actually the first time I've gone through this part. I've read the Song of Prayer, the first little bit that we've been through, but I don't know that I've ever gone through this forgiveness section. If I have, I've forgotten. But anyway, it's just points to this particular way that he showed me. And part of my journey to awakening or to undoing the egoic mind was that Jesus came, and I worked in visualizations with him healing me, and his love healed me. And as I got into that, it was like I could see myself through his mind. And then he was sort of saying, but you also have to look out at your brothers that way. So if we can start to see that there's sort of two parts to healing our mind, it's to come to see, how does Jesus look upon me? And then how do I look upon my brother? So he really trained me, or changed my perception by mainly those two aspects. Of course, all the metaphysics about looking about the world, that this is a dream. He was really working on that level of giving me all those teachings. But this particular thing, forgiveness of yourself, this is how it works, because people have written to me over the years and said, how do I forgive myself? And I say, by forgiving others. And this is what he's taking us through in this section. So no gift of heaven has been more misunderstood than has forgiveness. It has in fact become a scourge, a curse, where it was meant to bless, a cruel mockery of grace, a parody upon the holy peace of God. Yet those who have not yet chosen to begin the steps of prayer cannot but use it thus. Forgiveness, kindness is obscure at first, because salvation is not understood nor truly sought for. What was meant to heal is used to hurt, because forgiveness is not wanted. Guilt becomes salvation, and the remedy appears to be a terrible alternative to life. So I think we might just read through this a little more reading, and I'll just make only a few comments. Thanks, Shannon.
Forgiveness to destroy will therefore suit the purpose of the world far better than its true objective, and the honest means by which this goal is reached. Forgiveness to destroy will overlook no sin, no crime, no guilt that it can seek and find and love. Dear to its heart is error, and mistakes loom large and grow and swell within its sight. It carefully picks out all evil things and overlooks the loving as a plague. a hateful thing of danger and of death. Forgiveness to destroy is death, and this it sees in all it looks upon and hates. God's mercy has become a twisted knife that would destroy the Holy Son he loves.
Would you forgive yourself for doing this? Then learn that God has given you the means by which you can return to Him in peace. Do not see error. Do not make it real. Select the loving and forgive the sin by choosing in its place the face of Christ. How otherwise can prayer return to God? He loves his Son. Can you remember him and hate what he created? You will hate his Father if you hate the Son he loves. For as you see the Son, you see yourself. And as you see yourself, is God to you. Shannon?
As prayer is always for yourself, so is forgiveness always given you. It is impossible to forgive another, for it is only your sins you see in him. You want to see them there and not in you. That is why forgiveness of another is an illusion. Yet it is the only happy dream in all the world, the only one that does not lead to death. Only in someone else can you forgive yourself, for you have called him guilty of your sins, and in him must your innocence now be found. Who but the sinful need to be forgiven? And do not ever think you can see sin in anyone except yourself.
This is the great deception of the world, and you, the great deceiver of yourself. It seems to be another who is evil, and in his sin, you are the injured one. How could freedom be possible if this were so? You would be slave to everyone, for what he does entails your fate, your feelings, your despair or hope, your misery or joy. You have no freedom unless he gives it to you. And being evil, he can only give of what he is. You cannot see his sins, but not, so you cannot see his sins and not your own, but you can free him and yourself as well. Shannon?
Forgiveness, truly given, is the way in which your only hope of freedom lies. Others will make mistakes, and so will you, as long as this illusion of a world appears to be your home. Yet God himself has given all his sons a remedy for all illusions that they think they see. Christ's vision does not use your eyes, but you can look through his and learn to see like him. Mistakes are tiny shadows, quickly gone, that for an instant only seem to hide the face of Christ, which still remains unchanged behind them all. His constancy remains in tranquil silence and in perfect peace. He does not know of shadows. His the eyes that look past error to the Christ in you.
Ask then his help and ask him how to learn forgiveness as his vision lets it be. You are in need of what he gives, and your salvation rests on learning this of him. Prayer cannot be released to heaven while forgiveness to destroy remains with you. God's mercy would remove this withering and poisoned thinking from your holy mind. Christ has forgiven you, and in his sight, the world becomes as holy as himself. Who sees no evil in it sees like him. For what he has forgiven has not sinned, and guilt can be no more. Salvation's plan is made complete, and sanity has come.
Forgiveness is the call to sanity. For who but the insane would look on sin when he could see the face of Christ instead? This is the choice you make, the simplest one, and yet the only one that you can make. God calls on you to save his son from death by offering Christ's love to him. This is your need, and God holds out this gift to you. As he would give, so must you give as well. And thus is prayer restored to formlessness, beyond all limits, into timelessness, with nothing of the past to hold it back from reuniting with the ceaseless song that all creation sings unto its God.
But to achieve this end, you first must learn before you reach where learning cannot go. Forgiveness is the key. And who can use a key when he has lost the door for which the key was made, and where alone it fits? Therefore, we make distinctions so that prayer can be released from darkness into light. Forgiveness's role must be reversed and cleansed from evil usages and hateful goals. Forgiveness to destroy must be unveiled in all its treachery and then let go forever and forever. There can be no trace of it remaining if the plan that God established for returning be achieved at last and learning be complete. I might finish this one, Shannon. This is the world of opposites, and you must choose between them every instant while this world retains reality for you. Yet you must learn alternatives for choice, and you will not be able to attain, your freedom. Let it then be clear to you exactly what forgiveness means to you, and learn what it should be to set you free. The level of your prayer depends on this, for here it waits its freedom to ascend above the world of chaos into peace. Okay, so that's the end of that section. I just thought, well, I felt guided to read it through, so it continued. It was like a symphony building on the teachings and really bringing this beautiful teaching through. So others will make mistakes, and so will you. Yet God has brought the remedy for illusions. He's going to show us that what is holy and what is beautiful and perfect cannot be made imperfect. It cannot be subject to attack or dust or rust. Our true abundance is we are as God created us. I am as God created me. So, I'd encourage anyone to go through this and read this after this. It's between now and next week. Really read through it again a couple of times to really understand it. But the theme of this is forgiveness of yourself. And he's telling us that we use forgiveness to destroy, which is this pardoning, this idea that, yes, you really did do that, you really are evil, but I'm this really wonderful, forgiving person, and I'll try to love you. That's not what he's asking us to do. He's asking us to see no sin. He says, do not see error, do not make it real. So when, for example, there's maybe some politicians or anyone that you're holding in your mind, or you've been convinced by the egos all joining in the one tune that there's somebody guilty. And he's asking us to look at that person, that image in our mind, and apply a Christ blessing to him or her. And he's really telling us that it's so important for us not to hold one character here, not one son of God apart from God's infinite love. I think there's a section there that we read, where he's saying that we have to look at everyone the same. And the underlying message of this section that we've read is, which we're going to go through as a meditation. I'll take you through. There was a little bit that was really highlighted to me today for the focus of the meditation. But the message underlying it, as I said before, I really just want to really, bring this home for everyone, is that how Jesus, the symbol of pure love that wrote the Course, how he looks at us, heals our mind of its belief in sin and guilt. Now, this belief that we have in sin and guilt, we are constantly projecting it out. We can't help but do that, right? That's what we're doing. It's so horrific. We believe it to be so horrific. We're not bad or terrible for projecting. It's just that this is what we're doing. We're all coming in projecting. Everyone here is projecting onto everyone else. So the way to heal this belief in guilt and sin, that we've got some darkness within us, that we're guilty, is for Jesus's love to come to us and for him to heal us of this belief by the way he looks at us. And then through that, he's asking us to look at our brothers. So it's like a double way of washing out in our mind. So if you've noticed in the Christ blessings that he's been getting me to bring, he tells me how to do this in different ways. We've been bringing Jesus in to the blessing, and then we've been blessing brothers, and then we've been done meditations where they've blessed us. And we've blessed Jesus and he's blessing us. So these are two ways it works to heal our mind of the belief in guilt. So we will stop projecting the guilt by having it healed at its core source in our mind. because what happens is it's in the unconscious mind and it's pushed aside and then projected out. So when we see a character on the screen, and we want the screen, we want the characters, we want this thing that we call the world, we want it to be here because we want to be projecting. But it all goes back to this terrible belief and fear of God and the belief in guilt in our mind. So to have a new way, we have to come to heal it where it is, in our mind. It's not out there. He says in this section, the belief in sin is within us. The belief in guilt is within us. We have to take it back to its cause. So not see error. So when we're not seeing error in another, it's healing our mind of our own belief in error, which is guilt. And so as we look, we have to look at our brother differently. So the big teaching of Jesus is to Helen and Bill originally was, can you see your brother as sinless? So nothing I see means anything. I have given it. My mind is giving it. He's pointing us back that the mind is putting the meaning on everything. Can you bring it back and let me heal it at its core? That's his message to us. Ask for me for help to heal your belief, your own private thoughts of belief in sin and guilt. Bring it back and let me love you so that it disappears. His love and the way he looks at us is the way. And then as we look at our brothers and transmit that, looking through Jesus's mind, through that Christ mind, seeing the face of Christ is not with our eyes. It's a way of being. It's a perception. I'm not sure what word you can put on it, but it's a way of looking, but it's not looking with the eyes. It's an experience in our mind. So what I'm guided to do for the meditation today, to really help us focus on those two aspects of how he sees us, and then he helps to look at our brother through that way that he looks at us. So he asks us to look at everyone that way, and that dissolves the belief in guilt and sin within us, and then we won't see it. We won't be able to see any evil anywhere. We won't be able to see attack because it's all coming from our mind. So this is how it gets undone. So the premise for the meditation today is that he is in charge. So I'm going to use some little sentences from this section, but I want you to sit back or lie down and really just say your own prayer, something along the lines of, I want my mind healed of its belief in sin and guilt. I want to be completely at peace. I want to see the world as you see it. Come into my mind, and I'm opening up to anything. So we're not coming with a way it's going to happen or how it's going to do. We're just opening up our mind and just saying, I'm going to use the next period of time. I've got nothing else to do. And I just come to me. So when we don't have no attachment to an outcome, we don't, just let all thoughts be still and just say, I'm here, Lord. I'm open. Come, and I've just listened to your teaching. Bring it to life in my mind. Give me the experience of this yourself. I invite you in, Jesus, to just talk to me, show me, be with me in any way you know that would suit me. And so I'm just going to be quiet now for a period of time, maybe 15 minutes, and just open up. And during this 15 minutes, I'm just going to read a few words now and again, just to keep you focused in. Thank you. To start it, I'm just going to read out. Ask then for my help. This is Jesus's words. Ask then for my help, and ask me how to learn forgiveness, and let my vision be with you. You are in need of what I can give you, and your salvation, your happiness rests on learning this of me. I have forgiven you, and in my sight, the world becomes as holy as me. You can look through my eyes, my mind, and learn to see the face of Christ. If you would like to, you could move your meditation into bringing into your mind anyone that you have unforgiveness towards. God calls on you to save his Son from death by offering Christ's love to him. So just think about all the people in your life and just know that God calls on you to save his Son. This is saving the world, saving his Son from death. Death is the belief in guilt. Death is depression and anxiety and feeling fearful. God calls on us to save his Son from death by offering Christ's love to him. See yourself offering Christ's love to everyone. We look past our brother's errors. We see only his holiness. His beauty, his perfection, as God created him, her. We use the same mind that Jesus had, a Christ mind. We look upon our brother as Christ looks upon us and upon our brother. He sees no sin. We are to see like he does. He asks us, do not see error. Okay, we'll finish off the meditation with a prayer, a poem, same thing. From The Gifts of God by Helen Schuckman. The silent way. Choose once again, for it is given you to trail the peace of God across the world without exception. Every child receives the gifts you bring, and men and women turn to you in thankfulness. With joy are you accepted everywhere, for you have come only to bring infinity's appeal to those who are as infinite as He. You come with memory of God in you to waken this same memory in those in whom it seems to sleep. The world would die without its saviours. Do not then deny your proper place, for Christ has called to you to follow Him and choose the silent way that brings you to eternity today. I hope you had a lovely meditation where you just opened up and had some experience, even if it was only for an instant, that you felt some release from the ramblings of the mind, even if there was just a second or two of some peace. It's all working towards that peace of mind that we will have. So it's our willingness that's really important, to just open and say, please help me, I'm willing. Just come and help clear my mind, show me the truth. You know, just this love of Jesus was really healing for my mind. He just radiated this infinite love where he just saw my beauty, saw my holiness. He just saw no sin. And that's what he's saying in this message that we just read. When he looks at us, he sees nothing but perfection. And then he instills that through us and asks us to show our brothers. So my mind has been healed, and I only see the glorious love of God within you, the perfection, the holiness, the infinite love that you all are. I don't see bodies. They don't register. There's no descriptions about bodies. There's nothing. I see an image, but it just doesn't mean anything to my mind. So this is where we're getting to. We're getting to our mind healed of its, so we can have true vision and experience of the world in a different way, the forgiven world, where it's just looked upon from love as love. It becomes one, just one beautiful love. So if you would like to unmute yourselves to say goodbye.